The ridiculous cancel culture strikes again, and this time it's Disney who fired Gina Carano for having hateful opinions. Gina Carano plays Cara Dune in The Mandalorian and has been a big fan favorite ever since she appeared in season 1. In just a moment I'll show you why Disney fired her, but the problem here is that her so-called hateful tweets aren't even that bad. I mean, most of what she posted is something that a lot of people are going to agree with, and I really think that Disney shot themselves in the foot with this one. How come you're not allowed to have hateful opinions, by the way? You're not allowed to hate things? You're not allowed to hate specific ideas? Or is it just that you're not having the right ideas? You're not hating the right things? Honestly, this cancel culture is getting to a ridiculous point. These companies like Disney, they don't get that by following the voices of a radical few, you're ruining your own company. Most people don't agree with this. Most people don't like the idea of canceling someone just because they have different opinions, right? Take a look at this. Gina Carano no longer part of The Mandalorian or any spin-offs. They completely wiped out her character and her as an actress at Disney. Despite the mostly positive reception to Cara Dune and Carano's performance, at first the former mixed martial artist has been at the center of multiple controversies in recent months. The controversies arose from various posts across Carano's social media accounts. She made transphobic jokes. So that's the first one, transphobic jokes. Listen, I'm all for not harassing a specific group of people, especially one that has that high of a suicide rate like transgender people has. I'm all for not harassing anyone. But if you can't joke about a group of people or different people or whatever it is, if you can't joke about things, you're shutting down a lot of people's ability to just freely express themselves. If they have to always be on your guard and always be careful about what you joke about. Jokes are sometimes meant to be offensive. They're not always your opinions. Like sometimes when you're with friends, I'm sure that you joke about things that you don't really mean. Like it's not your opinion, but you joke about it because it's like sometimes it's fun to exaggerate and to say something that's not your opinion, right? It's getting to a ridiculous point. Repeatedly doubted the effectiveness of masks during COVID-19. Doubting the guys, the WHO began by saying that no, masks are not effective. You don't wear them. It doesn't really matter unless you really want to. It doesn't matter. Then they turned around and said, okay, now everyone has to wear masks and they're not coming off until this pandemic is over, whatever that means. Doubting something should be the standard. You can't tell people not to doubt stuff anymore. It should be one of the pillars, it's one of the pillars of Western society to doubt whatever people throw at you. Just look at things objectively, doubt it, analyze it, find out what's real and what's not, right? It's ridiculous. And shared voter fraud conspiracies following the 2020 presidential election, and that you can't do. Joe Biden is the most popular president in history. He got 10 million more votes than Barack Obama. 10 million more because he is outrageously popular. Did you go to any of his events? Probably not, right? No one did. But he's the most popular, and obviously that you can't share voter fraud conspiracies, right? Because if it's a conspiracy, then by definition it's misinformation, and if someone uses that word against you, you should be cancelled, obviously. Carano continued to make controversial posts, including recent ones about Jeffrey Epstein, which we'll go into in just a moment, and the Holocaust. I couldn't find the one about the Holocaust, so to be fair, I don't know what that one's about. And if you joke about the Holocaust, I do think that there's a line at some point. I don't think there's a line in what they should censor, but I can see why some people would get offended by it. I can't see why you would censor someone. but that's another issue. I couldn't find the Holocaust one, but I found the other ones. So in just a moment we'll take a look at that. Now, Lucasfilm has announced that Gina Carano will no longer be involved with The Mandalorian or any other Star Wars projects. You have to understand that Gina was a huge fan favorite. A lot of people really liked her, and they liked her background as a performer in the mixed martial arts, where people were following her. A lot of people like her, and they have a really favorable view of her, so they began following her on social media, and not a lot of people got deterred from it. So Disney is saying that because of a few people complaining, they're now completely getting rid of her. Disney is saying that Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. They're unacceptable. By the way, I'm a Christian, but if you make jokes about my Christianity, I'm not going to get offended. I'm going to take it for what it is. I don't mind people making jokes of my ideas. If you want to have a legit conversation, I'm always up for that. But you just can't be offended when people make jokes about stuff. So let's take a look at her Twitter account, because I wanted to do some research, and okay, so let me take a look for myself and find out, is she really that bad? And it's ridiculous. So she shares a bunch of gifs and different stuff. This is the Epstein post that she put up, which, if you look into it, it says Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. So it's part of what they would call a conspiracy. Most people looking into it will have a hard time finding that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in prison. It just sounds on its face ridiculous. She shares a bunch of different posts about like the 300 movie. And by the way, and the reason I'm showing you this is that I think most people going through her social media posts will just like her. Well, because she's in favor of like anti-government control and surveillance. She's in favor of freedom, like personal freedoms and different things. The world will know that free men stood against a tyrant, that few stood against many, and before this battle was over, even a god king can bleed King Leonidas, the famous quote from the movie. She shared a post about, have you checked out The Truman Show recently? A really good movie about how he's put into this and this world and being surveilled all the time. And then she's sharing this image of, in general, she's sharing images that's like you shouldn't be too influenced by social media, you shouldn't be silenced by corruption, posts like these. And these are very generic for people who like freedom. And honestly, it's not that bad at all. Dave Rubin just tweeted that Disney has canceled Gina Carano, so I'm canceling my Disney Plus. And this is a whole movement that we're seeing trending on Twitter right now. The consequences of this is that Disney Plus will begin to suffer in its subscriptions. It'll begin to take a hit, because this is obviously, canceling someone like her is obviously such a reach, and you're bowing down to just a very select few that got so outraged that Gina would share a few posts that they didn't agree with, that she has to be gone. I can't take her opinion, so she has to be gone. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I looked into her other social media profiles, and it's pretty much what you would expect, like from looking through Twitter. It's like anti-government surveillance, it's personal freedom, all of these, like sharing movie clips, and it's so non-offensive, and that's why I'm surprised by this. Disney is saying that a lot of the fans wanted her gone because of her statements and her viewpoints, and do you know any fans who wanted her gone? Any fans of The Mandalorian who wanted her gone? Because I don't, and I what I read on forums and Star Wars forums is that most people liked her, like the vast majority liked her, both as a character but also as her person, like herself. Look, there's something happening that I really don't like to see as a trend, and it's these people getting fired for having opinions in their personal life that some people don't agree with. And typically, it's only a radical few who can't stand that other people think differently from themselves. I don't like this idea of companies trying to enforce what opinions that you're allowed to see, because it's kind of denigrating in itself. It's telling you that, okay, so you're too vulnerable to be faced with opinions that we deem hateful. You can't take it, so now we're going to shield you from it. Like, that's the most positive spin I can put on it, that they just essentially are misguided, but they want to help people. But it really seems like this is an effective way for companies, because there's a pattern in her story, coaches in sports, people in politics, and so on. People are being fired all over the place for having bad ideas or for supporting the wrong person in politics. It's really a dangerous trend, and it's ridiculous that we're allowing these companies like Disney, to shield us from certain opinions where we should just come, like, the internet should be a place where you could freely express your opinion. And if someone can't take it, then they should just like leave you alone, move on. Why can't you just like leave people alone? That's what we do in real life. If someone has a like really bad opinion, maybe you confront it, but you're not trying to somehow get someone canceled. You just like shake it off, move on, and that's how most people do it. So I really don't like these companies conforming to what a radical few are trying to drive culture as. But those are my opinions on it. I hope that Disney will get hit hard in terms of subscribers to Disney Plus, the service that they have. I really hope so, because that's the only way that companies will learn. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. If you like this kind of content, or if you like The Mandalorian, or if you like Danish people, even if you slightly dislike Danish people, you should subscribe to the channel. Help me out to get to 1,000 subscribers. It will really help me out, and I would be very grateful. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.